Thank you. Hello, can you hear me properly? Because the last presentation wasn't very good at the listening. Can you raise your hand if you can hear me? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. Wow, it's great that you came here today to listen to the B2B complete transformation from offline to online. What we would be talking about, we will talk about money. So this is probably the thing that you're most interested in. Exactly 87 million euro revenue last year on the company who actually wasn't online at all a few years back, like 3 years back. So this is another achievement that they did, and actually what we did with them. Because a few weeks ago we came back from Las Vegas when we attended with the company I'm going to talk about today a great conference, Imagine 2016, which is organized by Magento itself, and we were the finalists. We took the third place there. So I think that this is some kind of a proof that this project was indeed great. Yeah, so let's start. First of all, let's talk a bit more about B2B e-commerce in general. 75% of e-commerce B2B buyers claim that it's more convenient to them to buy from the e-commerce website than from a sales rep. Another data is that in 2016 it is trusted that 30% B2B buyers is going to finalize their purchase, half of their purchases online. And this is going to be doubled next year. 60% of B2B buyers spend more when they are interacting with omni-channel. So it means the more channels you're going to provide them with, like mobile channel or sales rep channel, this is going to increase your sales. The company I'm talking about is TIM. This is the biggest electrotechnical goods distributor in Poland. They are in Warsaw Stock Exchange since 1998. This is a quite established company, very big company, which was like truly offline business. They have clients from the construction business area, and you should believe me that this is a very difficult business area, especially in Poland. This is the vice president who says here that this was truly a great challenge to actually transform a completely offline company and incorporate e-commerce not only to the customers but also to the employees who actually had to change the way they were thinking. The whole structure had to change in order to achieve these goals that they wanted to achieve. And this was a very, very hard task to do. So what was the aim of the whole project? It was diversification of business and improvement of effectiveness. This, of course, sounds very sophisticated, but what it really means is that they wanted to expand their customer base. They wanted just to sell more to different customer groups, and they wanted to expand product range and add new product categories. When we started the cooperation with them, they had 49 product categories. Imagine putting these into their e-commerce. Like when you are in an e-commerce which sells, let's say, clothes, you have like 3 main categories, 4. They had 49. This is something that is like very hard to do for a normal user to find a product within these 49 categories. We actually did the magic, and automatically we decreased the number of product categories to less than 20, which is still a lot, but not that much. This is the timeline of our cooperation. We started in 2011, and believe me, this was the year that actually B2C retailers didn't believe in e-commerce. So finding a customer or a client for us who wanted in 2011 build B2B e-commerce, this was huge. Yeah? So we started the cooperation in 2011. Then in 2012, Oh, this is important. We started the cooperation in 2011 with the B2C shop. And why we did that? We did that because it was much cheaper to test the hypothesis they had. They had the hypothesis that TIM actually can sell online in the matter of logistics, in the matter of inner processes within the company, or in the matter of the offer that they have. So they wanted to test it. They wanted also to test if TIM could actually sell to the individual clients. That's why we put up a very simple and, it was very simple e-commerce for B2C to test this hypothesis. And as you can see, half a year later, we started B2B project because we were sure that it was worth doing. Next, after a year of work, we switched to Scrum Methodology. This was the year that everybody believed that this is the best way of working in development. And it was true because 2 months later, we actually went live with the B2b E-Commerce website. When it went along, we incorporated SWAT team in Divante that I'm going to talk about a bit more later. Later we did the major redesign because it was the time to do the redesign. We learned a lot of things, and it was the time to make few things on the e-commerce work better. Now we have transferred the hosting last year, and now we're working on advanced big data project. How did the process look like? We started from gathering business expectations from the customer. We teamed up with them. When we had it gathered, we did the technical analysis and integrations. After that, we did the interaction design. So we designed the mockups and wireframes, which were the basis for graphic design, which was then implemented and tested, and we have been doing optimization since then. So this is a constant process, and I have to say that I really admire TIM company for understanding how optimization is important in e-commerce, because this is not something that you have to do just once. This is something that you have to do like over and over again, because you're learning more and more on how your users behave and what they really want to get from your product or from your e-commerce. How did we gather business expectations? This is Kasia, our UX designer and UX researcher, who actually got out of the building of our office and started talking to sales reps and started talking to technicians who were TIM's customers to get to know what they really wanted. So this is a field study that we conducted, and some of the insights that we got from here is that from this research is that sales reps prefer to call their call center rather than do the order directly. They want to directly place an order at the operator rather than through mobile device, through a mobile app, let's say. So this is important because it told us that, okay, you don't want to, or you don't have to invest in mobile app because people just don't want to use it, at least now. Maybe we can think about it in a few years. So this is the value of this kind of research. We did personas. Persona is a fictional identity that reflects one of the user groups. This means that we, as user experience designers, have to have the empathy to put ourselves in someone else's shoes to design a great product for them. So we came up with Henry, who was 47 and is a technician, and we tried to think of what Henry might have feel, what problems might he have, how TIM can actually help him. This helped us design functionalities and features which would be actually important for him. This is the way that he is satisfied and TIM is satisfied too. The design phase took us 6 steps. We started with the workshops with the client. Then we started prototyping. We did the wireframes. And this was the part where we generated a lot of ideas. And we then had to assess, like from the expert point of view, which ideas we really want to test. We put it into the wireframe and did the user research to check which one of these ideas are actually working for the company that we were working for. The findings that we got from the user research took us some time to polish the prototype. And actually we did, as you can see, this is not the linear process. So this is something that we did 4 times. Of course, you can do it once, but it won't give you enough insights to actually build the end product. The workshops. This is the picture of us working with the client, and as you can see, the client is drawing here. So we're not just asking questions, we're actually making them make their own shop, which is very important because sometimes people think that, oh, I cannot draw, so I cannot design any website. But they have the knowledge how the business is growing. They know how their customers are thinking because they're in it. And we know how this should look like, so we lead the process and we work with them. This is the result of the workshop. As you can see, the mock-ups, they are, hand-drawn, and this is fine for this stage, of course. After drawing these prototypes, we do the digital prototype, which I am sure some of you might have misled that with an actual website, because sometimes you can see not very pretty websites on the internet, but this is the mock-up. This is an interactive mock-up that users can actually click on. They can see different states and so on. So we use this to do the user research, after which, the user research. We did few iterations of the user research. It takes about 8 people to do the test, 8 users to do the test, so that we can get enough insights to change the mock-up that we designed. 85% of mistakes that we have done in our prototypes, designing them, can be detected with 6 people tested. And the test is like an interview. We just invited people who might be interested in buying the products, like technicians. These were people who were very experienced with internet because they were buying from the internet, but also these were people who didn't use internet at all, and we had to find the common ground here. So after the user testing, we did the final digital mock-up with, of course, some insights from the users, and we did the graphic design. And then we asked ourselves, or TIM asked themselves, which technology they would like to use to build their B2b e-commerce. And Magento was, and actually is, the most popular technology for e-commerces, as you can see in the chart. This is open source. Open source means that you don't have to actually pay the license for building your e-commerce. You don't need it. You just need developers who are going to put it up. You have a demo version. You can use a great support from Magento, great pre-built modules that you can just put in your Magento platform, so that it's just pretty easy, especially when you want to do a lot of customized features. And that's the project I'm talking about, because Magento isn't very cut for B2B project. It's more for B2C. This means that we had to do a lot of customization, but it was worth it because the technology itself is very solid. We are very open to open source platforms. So in order to meet B2B needs, we had to come up with ideas how to make it happen, like marketing automation or search that works like Google, with other open source platforms. These are one of these. Here you can see the omni-channel open architecture. You can download this from our blog. This is the open source. These are the open source platforms that we also work with. And the integrations we did with the TIM are CRM integrations, product management program, warehouse integration, and fact finder integration. All of these, CRM is the most interesting because when a user is actually looking for a product that he wants to buy, he puts this product into the basket. The CRM and the recommendation engine works this way, that the customer service at TIM knows what the client actually has in his cart and can call him to help him buy a complementary product or give him a better deal for something if he buys more, let's say. And what's more interesting is that when he agrees with this, the customer service at TIM can actually put these additional products into his basket for him. This is called bilateral integration in real time. This is not very common. We had to do a dedicated feature for it. And this is working perfectly for TIM. Actually, there's a funny story about this because once upon a time, there was a client who put 100 light bulbs into his basket and a huge electric pole. And as you can probably imagine, the delivery of this electric pole is not very easy, and you have to arrange it and do it carefully. That's why a customer service called him, and just to discuss the delivery. And the customer, what he did was, I don't really want to buy this electric pole. I put it into my basket because I wanted to negotiate the price for 100 light bulbs. So he knew that if he put something very strange into his basket, the customer service would call him back so that he can actually talk to a human to negotiate the price for the bulbs. And this inspired us to actually do this feature so that you can put something into the basket, but then you can not buy it, but convert it into an offer inquiry so that you can negotiate the price with the customer service. Another dedicated functionality was TIM sells cables, like the wires, like you can see here. So when they have a leftover 2.5 kilometer cable and they want to get rid of it, when somebody puts into his basket this same cable, but a piece of 2 kilometers, not 2.5, he can actually see from his basket that he can get a better price for 2.5 kilometer piece than for 2 kilometers. I'm sorry, this is complicated, but you give the choice to the customer. He can choose if he wants to buy 2 kilometers cable, long cable, or 2.5 piece of the cable. So when you are B2B, you should consider, we think that you should consider this list of functionalities, which are the list of contractors with verification, individual or collective negotiation of discounts, order files, offer creation, consultants who can accept the order on behalf of the customer. These functionalities are like specific for B2B. You cannot find them in the technology that is not built for B2B. The whole development took us like few months, over a year, and when we actually started and we went live, we wanted to be sure that with the number of people who are actually using the website, with the increasing number of people using the website, the scalability and performance is going to be maintained at the same high level, so that there won't be any pitfalls. We used replication of the database to speed up reading operations and data and balance the traffic to database. This is some technical stuff, but we used a lot of tools like Redis, like GlusterFS, Varnish, Persona DB instead of MySQL database, I really recommend you to read the same case study from our website, divante.co, where you can actually read more details about this. But it took us some work to actually be sure that this whole thing is going to work, no matter how many people is going to be on the website. A lot of integrations that we did was a risk, because every integration may cause some problems. That's why we ensure quality by two-phase code review after every change, or before every change that we want to incorporate in the website. We do a two-phase code review, version control system, ticketing system, monitoring system to monitor integrations. And what if something actually goes wrong? So what if the website goes down? Like when we reached with TIM 250,000 euro daily revenue, we started to worry that they are actually losing like a lot of money, because 1 hour system crash was like more than 10,000 euro loss. So we didn't want it to happen, and that's why we created and formed a special group of people who were responsible for this not to happen. These are the most experienced developers and administrators who control and monitor the system 24/7. They take shifts to do this, so that the SLA under 1 hour is, and they have to react under 1 hour if something goes wrong. It means that, and they get paid like a bonus for this. Nobody can, not everyone can do this. You have to pass a special exam to be in this group, so this is like a privilege. And when the SLA is violated, nobody gets paid. I mean the bonus, of course, for doing this extra job. So this is how we manage the big traffic and problems with system crashes. We managed to automate tests and automate development the way that we managed to decrease the time of deployment to less than 5 minutes. In order to do this, we created a team of 6 developers. 4 developers, 1 front-end developer, 1 tester, and plus one person from TIM. This was a product owner who actually are working all the time on this project. And they are working very closely. Actually, there is like 500 meters from our offices, like TIM and ours. So, and this is still the same people. They know the system by heart, and this is just how we do it. And what about the data? This whole project lasted like 5 years. So we managed to gather a lot of data that we use. So when we look at Google Analytics of TIM, we actually can see that 97% of customers prefer one specific view of product listing page, which is this one, which is the horizontal list, rather than matrix list, like you can see in, let's say, fashion e-commerces very often. So we use it for redesign. And the business results, which is probably the most interesting thing for you. The black line here is the sales from online. So as you can see, it was rapidly growing. And the yellow line here is the number of products available to buy from online, which is also growing. So what about business results that they had at the beginning? They actually did, last year, they did 130 million euro revenue from the whole company, but from online, 67% from this, which is 87 million euro, is from online. So this is like, this stopped to be an offline company. It's an online company because less than 35% of their sales comes from offline. So in 4 years, they managed to transform it almost completely, and I believe that these numbers will grow. 87% of orders at the whole company is from online. Yeah, and actually, customers love it. You can see the video on the YouTube where customers are, TIM customers are saying that the way they do business now with TIM has changed the way they worked because it's much easier for them. We did Imagine 2016, which is a great success for us as builders of this success, and for TIM, who actually took the prize. The whole case has been depicted in Harvard Business Review, where you can read more about it, and you can also read about it, more about it at our website, divante.co, where you can read all the technical stuff that you might be interested in. So what's next? This is Forrester research, which says that B2b e-commerce companies now are investing at the first place in automated pricing optimization and personalized recommendations. And this is what we are going to actually work on with TIM using big data. Now, thank you. This was a lot of information. I hope you got something from it. I know that the time is... Yeah.
But still we have time for 2 questions, so I hope there will be some. Okay, so the first one, I think I'll start. As far as I know, you are as well trained psychologist. Yeah. So please tell me how hard or how did you manage to convince the managing board of TIM to...
I'm sorry.
How did you manage to convince the managing board of TIM to change whole selling process to online?
Well, we didn't really actually have to. We didn't have to convince them because TIM is like a great client for us who understands much more than the 90% of clients that we have, and he understands that e-commerce is the future thing. Is the future. So they had to, and they knew that the sooner they do it, the better for them. And they are a leading company, B2B company in electrical goods right now in Poland. So I think we didn't have to convince them. They were great about this.
Okay, so are there any questions? So to end it somehow or summarize it, do you have any, let's say, advice for offline shops, offline commerce? What point should be starting point to change the sales to the online?
Well, starting point should always be a user. So you should probably ask your users, and you have to do it on your own. You have the data from your company right now, and you just have to collect it and see what users are actually doing right now and what are their needs right now. E-commerce is great, and probably it's the sooner the better, right? Mobile is also great. The sooner the better. That's, this is quite obvious, but that's what it is. I'm sorry. I don't have any great insight about that.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. One more announcement. Our stand is based across the entrance here, and you can actually win a code review of your website. You just have to put in the business card, and we'll just choose someone who is going to get a free code review. So feel free to come. Feel free to talk to us. Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.